War is often won by soldiers, ships, and guns, but sometimes it's won by a liar. In 1944, as Allied forces prepared for the largest military invasion in history, D-Day, they had one desperate need: to make Hitler believe the attack would come somewhere else. And incredibly, he believed it. Because one man, one spy, told him so. This is the story of Juan Pujol García, the double agent who fooled the Nazis, saved thousands of lives, and helped turn the tide of World War II, armed with nothing but fake reports, imaginary spies, and an astonishing talent for deception. Juan Pujol was not a trained spy. He wasn't British, he wasn't even a soldier. He was a Spanish poultry farmer, but he hated fascism. And when World War II broke out, he offered his services to the Allies. They weren't interested, so he went to the Nazis instead. Pujol convinced German intelligence that he was a devoted Nazi supporter. He created a false identity, Agent Garbo, and claimed to be operating from London. In reality, he was in Lisbon, fabricating every report he sent. He invented an entire network of imaginary spies. He filed reports copied from newspapers and timetables. He made up meetings, intercepted communications, and entire backstories. And the Nazis believed every word. Eventually, the British caught wind of his efforts and realized how valuable he could be. They brought him to London and gave him a code name, Garbo, because he was the greatest actor they had ever seen. From then on, Pujol became a double agent, working for British intelligence while still feeding false information to Germany. His biggest test came in 1944. The Allies were preparing Operation Overlord, the invasion of Nazi-occupied France. But they knew Hitler expected an attack at some point. They just didn't know where. The real plan was to land on the beaches of Normandy. But to ensure success, they had to convince the Germans that the invasion would come elsewhere, at Pas de Calais, the closest point to Britain. This deception became known as Operation Fortitude. And the key to that deception was Garbo. Over weeks and months, Pujol carefully fed the Germans false information. He reported troop buildups in southeastern England. He created fake naval movements. He even staged the deaths of some of his imaginary agents to make their stories seem more credible. When D-Day finally came, on June 6, 1944, and Allied forces landed in Normandy, the German high command didn't believe it was the real invasion. Why? Because Garbo told them it was a diversion. They held back key reinforcements for weeks, waiting for the main invasion at Calais, which never came. By the time they realized the truth, it was too late. The Allies had gained a foothold in France. The liberation of Europe had begun, and Garbo's deception had worked. After the war, Juan Pujol disappeared. Many thought he'd been killed by the Nazis. In reality, he moved to Venezuela and opened a bookstore. He lived in quiet anonymity until 1984, when he was rediscovered by historians and honored by Britain for his service. He died peacefully in 1988. A farmer, a liar, a spy, a war hero. What makes his story so remarkable isn't just that he lied, but that he lied so well and so selflessly for a cause he believed in. He didn't fire a shot. He didn't storm a beach. But he may have saved more lives than any soldier. Because sometimes, the sharpest weapon is a well-told lie. Thanks for listening to Echoes of Time. If you enjoyed this episode, follow us for more hidden stories that helped shape the world, stories of the unsung, the unlikely, and the unforgettable. Until next time, stay curious.